Good morning, students. I'm here with chapter 3, Dusk, part 2, the wonderful short story written by H. Munro under the pen name Saki. Till now, we have discussed the first half of the story, where we found that there are three characters. The protagonist of the story, Norman Godsby. He is an observer who tried to observe people at the time of dusk, at the hour of dusk. And then he met an old man. He tried to judge the old man by observing, and then he met a young boy. We have discussed the theme, and then we came to know that there was a long conversation between a young man and Norman Godsby was going on, and the entire story of the day, what happened with the young man in this city, he narrated to Norman Godsby. Norman Godsby said that yes, the same thing had happened with me when he was in a foreign capital, and remarkable was that he was not all alone. He was with one of his friend, and then the remarkable thing was that both have lost their way to the hotel, but fortunately they remembered that the hotel was on a sort of canal. So this much story we have read. Now here come the second part of the story. Now, after listening to the story, Norman Godsby made him comfortable, the young boy, by telling this that yes, your story is not at all impossible, because I have already experienced it. And when the boy listened to it, he was quite delighted, he was quite calm, that yes, this fellow can understand me in the better way. So he has a hope that maybe this fellow can help him. Okay, now let's see. The young man is aware that his story sounds like a scheme. What he said earlier, that maybe you feel that my story is unbelievable, okay, unrealistic, but now he has little hope. Godsby mentions the time he pulled the same scheme in a foreign city once. The young man quickly points out that a foreign city would have made these things easier for him, as he could have gone to the consul. Consul means in every foreign city there is an office where the foreign people, those who are facing some kind of trouble, they can go and get help from them. But he mentioned here that as I am in the same country where I belong, just the city has changed, so here I feel that it is quite difficult. He mentions again that he'll be homeless for the night. He has to spend his night on any of the road or embankment on the surface. Now, Godsby, no fool, he doesn't believe the man. Still, after hearing all that story, he is not convinced, and he asked him when he was trying that, okay, if this fellow is sharing the same story he has experienced, then he can lend me some money. But then Godsby said that I can believe you if you can produce a soap. As he said earlier, that I came out of the hotel to purchase a soap, and I purchased. Then he asked for the evidence. He was looking for the evidence that if the young boy can show him the soap what he was talking about, then he can believe on his story. So he asked that man that you can show me your soap. The young man started searching for the soap in his pockets of his overcoat, long overcoat. But then he found that there is nothing in his pocket, so he started looking for it here and there. He claims he has lost it, and it was very unfortunate that he could not show his soap over there. Knowing that Goatsby doesn't believe him, and he leaves. When he was leaving, the young man left from that particular place as he was disappointed that he could not show the soap. But then too, when he was walking on his way, he was with a raised head, and he was showing very much confidence. He held his head high with an air of somewhat jaded jauntiness. Now, the meaning of jaded jauntiness is a look for self-confidence that he has been shown to many times here in the story. When he was narrating the story, that time also, and when he left from that place, that time also, he kept his head held high, so that by this body language he tried to convince Goatsby that he is not a scheme boy, but whatever he was saying was true. Goatsby. When the young man left, Norman also stood to walk away to his home. But when he raised from the bench, he found a soap lying on the ground by the side of the bench. And that brought the twist. Earlier, Goatsby was thinking that the boy was really a scheme boy, and he was trying to make him fool. He was trying to take money by telling a wrong story, lie story. Okay, but now his perception has been changed for that young man. Now, what he is thinking? Now he thinks that maybe this soap has been dropped here from the overcoat of that young boy when he was about to sit or about to stand from the bench. Now, he felt apologies for not believing him and offered to loan him. Okay, so what he did, he was looking for him on the way where the young man, on the side where the young man has gone. He started to move in hurry to see the young boy, and then he caught the young boy who wore a light colored overcoat in the dusk. He said to young boy, "You must excuse me for my disbelief, but appearances were really rather against you. When you were narrating the story, I could not believe you because you were not able to give me the evidence for your story. And now I came to know that you were right." He gave him some coins and his address card. And with his address card, he said, "Any day this week, do for returning the money. And here is the soap. Don't lose it again. It's being a good friend to you." Now, why Norman said this? Because this is the soap only which made him realize that the young boy's story is true. And then he decided to help him by lending the money. So he is saying that the soap is a good friend to you. It brought you a fortune so that you need not to stay on the road. So you can go and comfortably you can spend your night anywhere. Now Godsby lectures himself about how he should be less judgmental of people. Just then, when he was way back to the same place, he saw an elderly gentleman poking and peering beneath the bench, and on all sides of it. He recognized his earlier fellow occupant. Now, who was this old man? This elderly gentleman was the same fellow who sat on the bench before the young man. Now, then he asked, "What are you looking for?" The gentleman replied that I am looking for a soap. I think it fell from my pocket somewhere here. Now here come the twist in the tale. Till now, Norman Godsby was finding the young man as a poor boy whom he did not believe. But now, after discovery that the soap belongs to this elderly gentleman, he felt guilty. That now it's a lesson to me not to be too clever in judging by circumstances or by appearances. Godsby was thinking as if he is a very judgmental person. He can judge anyone by his appearances and circumstances, but after having this experience, now he realized and he could get the lesson that he is not too clever on judging people. Now, in the story Dusk, there is irony. Now, what is irony? It is ironic that the main character, who believes himself to be a good judge of people, gets deceived by the young man who shared the park bench with him, and Godsby believes that the time of day known as dusk brings out defeated and shady characters. So what's the irony here? Irony is that when he was judging somebody, he became fool of that young man. I hope you understand the story and enjoyed it. Do read the story, underline all the hard words, learn their meanings, find their meanings, and use them in your daily conversation. Thank you so much. Stay safe, stay healthy.